A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. The COP29 Climate Summit in Baku, Azerbaijan, has extended its negotiations into overtime as world leaders grapple with a contentious draft deal that proposes developed nations lead the charge in providing $250 billion annually in climate finance by 2035. The two-week conference has been fraught with tension, with developing nations demanding more substantial financial commitments to combat the escalating impacts of climate change. As discussions continue late into the night, the COP29 presidency has released a new draft aimed at resolving the contentious rules surrounding carbon markets, but the overarching funding plan remains in flux. On Friday, the proposed target of $250 billion drew sharp criticism from both sides of the negotiating table. Panama's climate envoy, Juan Carlos Monterrey Gomez, expressed his outrage, calling the target ridiculous and accusing developed nations of neglecting their responsibility to address climate change. His sentiments were echoed by other developing nations, who argue that the proposed amount falls woefully short of the financial support needed to address the climate crisis. Conversely, some European negotiators have deemed the proposed target excessively high, arguing that it fails to expand the contributor base significantly. The ongoing debate highlights the deep divisions between wealthy nations, who are often reluctant to increase their financial commitments, and developing nations, which face the brunt of climate-related disasters and require urgent assistance. According to analysts, the $250 billion target represents only a slight increase from current spending levels on climate finance. The total would encompass $120 billion pledged by multilateral development banks and an anticipated $65 billion in private investments. David Vasco, director of the International Climate Initiative at the World Resources Institute, stated that developed countries should be able to meet this target by 2030 without a significant lift in their current contributions. However, the draft also invites developing countries to contribute voluntarily, a point of contention for nations like China and Brazil, who fear that such contributions could jeopardize their status as developing nations under UN guidelines. Germany's special climate envoy, Jennifer Morgan, noted that while progress has been made, the deal is not yet finalized. As the negotiations drag on, the uncertainty surrounding the future role of the United States looms large, especially following the recent election of climate skeptic Donald Trump. With Trump vowing to withdraw the U.S. from global climate efforts, the dynamics of the negotiations could shift dramatically. The Azerbaijani presidency has expressed optimism that an agreement can be reached soon, despite acknowledging that the current draft does not fully align with their ambitious goals. The proposed framework also aims to raise a total of $1.3 trillion annually for climate finance by 2035, a figure that would require significant contributions from both public and private sectors. Negotiators have warned that bridging the gap between government pledges and private funding will be challenging, and a senior U.S. official emphasized the need for ambitious bilateral actions and better mobilization of private finance to meet these goals. The existing climate finance commitment of $100 billion per year is set to expire in 2025, leaving many vulnerable countries anxious about their financial future in the face of climate impacts. As discussions continue, it is evident that the stakes are high. The need for substantial financial support is underscored by the increasing frequency of climate-related disasters, including devastating floods in Africa, deadly landslides in Asia, and severe droughts in South America. Even developed nations are not immune, with recent torrential rains in Spain leading to catastrophic flooding and the U.S. facing a record number of billion-dollar disasters this year. Fiji's negotiator, Daniel Lund, voiced concerns about the inadequacy of the proposed financial commitments, stating that they fall short of the scale of need dictated by the growing climate crisis. The ongoing negotiations have been likened to haggling in a market, with countries balancing their demands against the realities of what is politically feasible. As the COP29 summit continues, it remains to be seen whether negotiators can reach a consensus that satisfies both developed and developing nations. With the climate crisis intensifying, the urgency for a comprehensive and fair financial agreement is more critical than ever. While the proposed $250 billion target marks a step forward, many argue that it is merely a starting point in addressing the vast financial requirements necessary to mitigate the impacts of climate change on vulnerable populations worldwide. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.